Morning, everybody. Grab your coffee and a donut or pastry or whatever you want. We're going to finish switching Chillicothe. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go back and pick up the 3 cars that we pulled out of the ITT Grinnell Spur. I could just leave them there and pick them up later, and that might be what a real railroad would do if they had 40 cars. But I think with 3 cars, they would just go ahead and pick them up. It's not like it's going to make the brakeman walk that much more, and it saves a move at the end of the switching. So we'll just drag them around. So now we need to head east so we can run through the crossover to get over to the General Chemical and Team Track Spur. Probably hear a lot of nature sounds in the background. It's that time of year when the starlings are in all the trees. I probably shouldn't point out my mistakes, but this view, I can see sort of a curve in the track of what the main line, just to the left of those cars. I didn't used to be there. When I built Chillicothe, it was on like sawhorses, and I could look straight down it. The track was pretty good. When I took out the crossover down there, it was already mounted, plus it had a lighting valance above it. And it's a lot harder to work on. So I got a little bit of a, I don't want to say a kink, but it's not straight like it used to be. Okay, so we're going to pick up the car from the team track. Now in the past, a lot of times I would just go ahead and empty the spur out. Do a little bit different this time. Since the car at the team track needs to be respotted back there, hopefully for the last time, I'm just going to pull it out and tack it onto the cars that are going to be delivered to General Chemical, which is the tank car and the covered hopper. That way when I do the final shove down the spur, I can just pull out one time and they're all in order. I don't know that it makes a big difference. Because now I'm going to have to go back and pull the tank car from General Chemical. One of these days I'll sort of maneuver them around by hand without an engine and count the moves and how many times I have to throw the turnout and see if there's actually a huge difference. So I'm going to spot the boxcar. I said it's going to couple onto the tank car. I pushed it just a little farther west so it wouldn't block Douglas Avenue. But for some reason, those cars just like sitting there. They must be rail fans because they never move. I almost always throw the turnout so the engine doesn't keep going through the crossover. I don't know why I didn't do it this time. I think because I had the 3 box cars and I never actually cleared it, but it may have just been an oversight on my part, but normally I would not run through that crossover every time. So I'm going back to pick up the tank car now. I sort of made the conscious decision in this shot to try to not show the lights, the strips of light up above. You have to really be careful with the camera placement, but I sort of like it not seeing the light valence. So we're heading west one more time. I'll pick up the 3 cars that are going to be delivered to the spur. 2 to General Chemical and the respot at the Team Trek. And I filmed this in one continuous take. The engine never stalled, had no problems. The closing shot, I did move the camera just to show a different view, but it ran perfect. we're dropping off the boxcar. I haven't printed or previewed my next train for JMRI yet, but I'm hoping that boxcar gets picked up. It's been there for quite a while. I may have to force it back to the yard here pretty soon. I had that happen once before with the bulkhead flat. It just sat there and sat there and sat there. And all we have to do is back down and pick up the 2 cars you can see in the distance and head back to the yard. Since I was rail fanning, I jumped in the car and drove up to another spot to see the train pass underneath the Route 23 overpass. I sort of like this view with the cornfield, and that's Union Spring there on the right. Okay, after he gets under there, that'll be the end of the video, except I did shoot a little thing about our final cat, our 4th cat, actually our original cat, Tux. I stuck it on here. So that'll be the end of most of the animal videos. But Chance is doing well. I'll try to show him sometime coming up. Well, to wrap up the cat section of our family, this is Tux. He's obviously named because he looks like he's wearing a tuxedo. He is a criminal mastermind escape artist. He's the reason why the backyard looks like a prison camp. I don't know if you can see it. I've got chicken wire around the entire fence because he escapes. And my wife panics when he escapes. So I had to go around the whole fence and put up chicken wire. None of the other cats do it, but he can escape. If he could talk, he'd have a British accent, and he would be James Bond's enemy. He's just an evil mastermind. He's a fun cat, very active, but man, he's just very slippery, very elusive, always into something. So he's also the oldest. He's, I think, 10 now. We already had him when we found Bunny. So, but he was a young cat. He might actually be 11. Still very, very active and plays more than any of the rest of the cats. He'll fetch. You'll hear him yowling, and he's pretending. We have Jazzy has a Pink Panther toy, and Tux hunts it and kills it regularly. So, anyhow, that's it for the pets. So I'll quit imitating jaw teeth and try to stick to trains and just give you an occasional pet update. Everybody stay safe.